FMA Talk Live. I'm your host, Datu Tim, joined with me by Guru Eric. How you doing, sir?
Not too bad, sir. How are you?
I am doing wonderful. Bunch of things going on. Run a little ragged, but that's okay. Today was, this weekend I taught a seminar out in Lansing, New York. Not to be confused with Lansing, Michigan, because initially a bunch of us got confused with that. And that's where the camps were, and there's a huge difference in distance. I did a seminar down in Lansing, and then I did a little Facebook marketplacing on the way home, which I got a nutty, Century makes the body opponent bags, and there's the adult size and kid size. So I have 2 kid size. They're green. They don't make them green anymore. They are probably 30 years old.
Oh, wow.
And I like having the shorter ones for the kids. And I found another one. I only paid $100, which is good,
Oh, wow.
To me, it's all about the torso. The base was unimportant because, you can replace the bases. The torso is the big thing. So I was ecstatic. I did a seminar at a Sado school, so it's an offshoot of Shotokan Karate. Or no, I'm sorry, it's an offshoot of Kyokushin Karate.
Oh, very cool.
So I did a seminar pre-COVID with them, and I had other seminars scheduled. Unfortunately, with my car accident and shoulder injury, I had to just when we were about to do it. I got cleared for surgery. I'm like, all right, we can't do this now.
Oh no.
But they understood, and after chats with them, looks like they're going to be joining us at the instructors camp in September, which I'm excited about.
Very cool.
I got a sticks and jits seminar. So Professor Jerry, Coach Jerry, who's my BJJ coach, he's coming out Saturday. Actually, I saw him today. So today, I have some people to help out around the house with Janice, because of the car accident and stuff like that. So they called. They said they were going to be late, so we went to the gym first thing in the morning. Then we got home, shaved and showered, went up to Canada, had a class. Hey, J8, how we doing? Jate. Went up there, did a jiu-jitsu class with him because, yes, I do BJJ.
Of course.
Then Sensei Andre was there, who is also, besides doing jiu-jitsu, he's a phenomenal karateka, and he and I are going to be working on some collaboration stuff. This Friday is the next filming for my social content, so I have a whole bunch of guests coming in for that. So, and hold on one moment. Hey, I'm doing my podcast right now.
You go home now?
I'm on a podcast. See, this is the person who does my blades. Everybody, so we're on a show right now. Say hello to everybody.
Hello.
Say hello to them. Jessa, say hello. Okay, Jessa's not down with it. All right. I will talk to you later because I have my show right now.
Okay.
Right. So I've got another order in the works for some cool stuff.
Very cool.
Matt Jones. What's up?
What's up?
Don't forget about Eric.
I'm sorry.
Eric, I already have a room reserved for the instructors camp in September. Phenomenal there, Brock. Brock is a triple threat, by the way. So Brock is going to be teaching at next year's Memorial Camp. He does Okinawan martial arts, Filipino martial arts, as well as Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
Nice.
He's a purple belt, if I'm not mistaken. Bastard outranks me. I started before everybody, but I'm on that extended. It's like that. Like, what was it? Van Wilder, that lifetime in college situation. Yeah,
right.
I was going for the lifetime white belt, and then they promoted me. So I was like, I didn't do. Okay, there we go. All right, here we go. So, So we got the Sticks and Jits seminar. Okay, so Friday, Thursday night, PG Craig is in the town.
Right.
So he's going to be part of the filming. I got Professor Jerry going to be part of the filming. I got
Nice.
another guy going to be part of the film. Part of the
Nice.
filming. Oh, yep. And he is. Yes, he's a purple. So I should have 3 people who will be collaborating with me, which would be cool.
Very cool.
I just got a notification that Burton Richardson liked something of mine. I don't know, or commented. I don't know. I'll have to look at that later.
Burton Richardson?
Yeah.
Nice.
To see if some PG Ty is so he just celebrated his birthday and his retirement all at the same time.
Oh, great.
So he's in the process of relocating. He'll be moving up to Pennsylvania. So in the Gettysburg area. So if you're in the Gettysburg area, you're looking for Filipino martial arts. PG Ty is going to be there. Not going to be doing anything right away because first he's got to move the family. Second, he's got to organize the home. Third, he's going to be going on a little vacation, a well-deserved one with him and his lovely wife, Rita. So we don't expect to see him on the show for a little bit, because, he's starting a new chapter in his life.
Right.
And,
yep.
We're all
and that takes time.
Yeah, and we're all about that, supporting him. And he does pop in periodically, but I think this is, it's good deal. Oh, then the other thing is my van is about so for those who've known me, I've had the War Wagon since 2013. I have a 2013 Grand Caravan. Had it since I was the first owner of it. It's about to hit 200,000.
Oh, wow.
So, and besides some surface rust, which they have,
right?
I hardly have. Okay, so 200,000 miles. I've done brakes and rotors multiple times because you do that.
You do that.
Couple bearings here and there, for the rotors. Multiple sets of tires because they don't last 200,000 miles.
Yeah.
Alternator, battery, and a coil pack. And then one locking mechanism for the sliding door. That's it. The bulk. And then, of course, wiper blades, but, that's a yearly thing.
Right.
That's it. This car owes me nothing. I love this thing. And I was like, oh, you get a sucker mom car. Dude, I've had people say that, and I pull up and they get inside. I was like, And it's got the night. It's got the lights in the ceiling and stuff like that. I'm like, and we did the Legends of FMA tour with Bobby Tabuada, Max Palin, Michael Heron, and myself, and Bobby's wife. And the 5 of us drove around in Pennsylvania. We had so much room in that thing. I was in a Suburban, and I'm like, I feel a little claustrophobic in a Suburban. So, so this is, I love the thing, and I don't plan on getting rid of it.
I was going to say, it sounds like a Timex watch. It just keeps on ticking.
Yeah. Well, I've talked to people in the automotive, because I was in the automotive industry as well. So I talked to some people, and they're like, dude, these cars last forever. The body's going to rot, which it's happening, but it'll keep going forever and a day. And, I'm ecstatic about it. But we got that coming up, and then, just everything at once. It's a big week. Got a kids testing on Thursday.
Oh, nice.
So before we get into today's topic, well, actually, testing is a big part of today's topic.
Ooh, yeah, that's true. Very true.
Yeah,
very true.
Very true. But what I did before, so I just got back from Barbados, and that was a great trip. And I run a festival down there,
right?
And we might have government sponsorship in the way of, if we work this all up, if we work it out properly, they are going to do ground transportation to and from the airport for those who are staying with us.
Awesome.
That per ride would save people $150.
Yeah.
Now that'd be for an individual or a family. Yeah, it depends on, obviously, if a couple different travelers can get together,
right?
Then, that changes it. But Carl and I went down there. We've got a driver, but generally it's $150 round trip.
Right.
And I'm working on trying to get the government to pay for that ground transportation, and
Nice.
maybe one tour while we're there.
Nice. That's nice. Well, hopefully you'll get it, because that's definitely going to
we
save
talked
on
to
the
right
seminar.
people. There's a lot of things. We might be doing a community event while we're down there too.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so
Yeah.
I grow a mustache. Hello. Okay. Terrell. All right, Terrell. Good evening, gentlemen. Hello from in Chicago. How long are you? I know you were teaching a seminar out there. When you flying back to home? And hey, Mr. Hilts.
Oh, hello, Hilts. Mr. Hilts.
I think Hilts is one of the people considering going to Barbados with us in October.
Nice.
So, he's up in Deep River. So if you are looking for Filipino martial arts in Deep River in Ontario, and that is like in Nowheresville. I mean, it's so far away. But you know, the thing here is our people are everywhere.
Of course.
And,
of course.
Datu Tim.
You know where
when you're. Well, that might not be discussed during the show, but the post-show debriefing. So once again, this is all the topic. Everything we're talking about is all interrelated. I will be flying back on Tuesday, then New York on Saturday. Oh, nice! Teach another seminar. Cool.
Nice.
Cool. Yeah, I got to go to New York. I got to talk to the WECAF group up there because I'm hosting one of the regional qualifiers. So.
Oh, nice.
Gotta get all. Yeah, so much stuff. So many things in the works. So.
I've been happy. We finally got the logo done for the school. I finally got an order in for business cards and flyers. So I'm launching my own recruiting here shortly to
hey, let's see that shirt. Let's see your shirt. Show everyone what you're sporting there.
We're sporting. This is the first ever with my new logo. If I can get it turned right. It says Modern Arnis at the Lightning Hands Academy.
You're grabbing the wrong side of your chest.
Yeah, you're right, man. I forget I'm backwards on the picture.
Don't look at the picture, because you know I know that my stuff is here.
Let me turn around here, because I've also got it on the back of the shirt.
Okay, there you go.
Can see it.
Yeah, Modern Arnis Lightning Hands Academy. There you go.
So finally got that logo done, and we're starting to like I said, just got put in the order for business cards and flyers, and I'm thanks to the wife, as she's standing here correcting me, and we're putting on we're trying to put on a membership drive, trying to get some more students in the door.
There you go. Well, I'm glad that the social media stuff that I've been doing actually helps send people your way.
And I appreciate that wholeheartedly. You have no idea.
But once again, this is all part of what we're talking about today. So let's get into this. So, Terrell, you wrote the word seminar.
Yeah.
So it's a keyword that is automated. And of course, check your message. I sent you the details. I didn't do that. That's an automated messaging thing. So everyone, do not write the word seminar unless you want to get a link for. And actually, that was going to be. Well, actually, that'll be the next one. So we do a community event online. It'll be in December, the first weekend thereof, and we send everyone a link who inquires about it, and it is a live seminar. Sometimes it's just on Google Meet. Other times it's on Facebook Live. I think we did both this year. So, the Google Meet, you get to interact with us.
Mm-hmm.
I get to see what you're doing. You get to see what I'm doing. Facebook Live, obviously, you get to see what we're doing, and you can make comments, but I don't necessarily see them. So, we've been doing this for years. We like the community event. We like just doing something nice.
I've attended a couple of those and actually enjoy them a lot.
And what I'll do is if some of the instructors are there, like PG Craig PG Ty, which they're usually at that event, they'll do some teaching with us as well, and just so it's not just me. Everyone gets to share a little something. So, all right. Well, we've gone for a few minutes. And hey, Antonio, how we doing, sir? Thank you. So, let me get into this here. I'm just going to do one thing. All right. So, my challenge. That's what this is about.
Wait for it.
I threw out this thing, a mandate for our people in our organization. And the thing that I am doing is, okay, so we did this before. So when Professor Presas passed away, we lost about 80 to 90% of our members. Now, people aged out. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean that they solely got old, but some people have a certain lifespan in martial arts, and sometimes it's about their physical age, as far as they don't have the ability to continue anymore due to health conditions and stuff of that nature. Another way you age out is that you get to a point where you're married with children or something, or you go to college or something along those lines. Hey, Jeremy. So aging out is a complex thing. It's not a black and white thing. Some people, they're going to be in for 6 to 8 months. Others might be in for 6 to 8 years. Others might be in for 5 to 6 decades. Who knows?
Correct. Yeah. Depends on how much of the bug they've been bit by.
Yeah. So, and, it is, so I'm going to say part of this was because of that.
Right.
I'm not going to say, okay, so listen, Professor Presas died. First, well, listen, it was a shit show.
Right.
And we were all part of the problem. Simple as that. We go back, we could have all handled things differently.
Hindsight's 2020, though, Datu.
Yep. Oh, I know. Oh, no, I know. Listen, and this is something I say about myself. I go, listen, I'm comfortable who I am as a human being today. I feel good about myself as who I am, what I do. I feel good about my martial arts, all this other stuff. I've made a lot of mistakes through the years, and I hope that I didn't hurt people or cause any damage. And I'm talking like mentally or emotionally or stuff of that nature. I've as the time I came up and stuff, I didn't have a strong role model. My parents were divorced when I was 2. There's stuff of that nature. Then Professor I actually spent more time with Professor than my own father because I lost him when I was 15 and he was living in Syracuse as a state police officer, and I might see him 10 days a year.
Right.
Just that's the way it was, and it was, he's in Syracuse, I'm in Buffalo, that, and it was usually my father's side of the family that arranged for all the transportation. So to see my father, it would have been no less than a 12-hour round trip total between both trips.
Oh, wow.
So it wasn't like he lived around the corner.
Right.
It was 2.5 to 3 hours away. So a lot of times my grandparents on my father's side would bring me out and they would drive home and I'd stay there for 2 weeks. And then he would do the same thing. And it's a lot of, and none of it was on my mother's side.
Right.
And I'm not blaming because it was a different era back then.
True.
It's just the way it is. Not getting into it, but nonetheless, that's what it was. All right. Nice shirt. Guru. So I look at things, I've made mistakes. And if when we look through things here, I can honestly say that I had more foot and mouth disease. I had no malicious intent. I didn't play games of that nature.
Right.
And, my biggest problem back in the day is that I'm a person who doesn't have a filter, and I had knee-jerk responses, where now I much better at things where I will take something happens, I'll usually sleep on it. And if it's not important to me in the morning, then I don't respond to it.
You've been tempered by maturity.
Well, the other, okay, we'll go with that. There's two other things. I mean, the other thing too is how much of this doesn't affect me. Now, so when people put misinformation out there,
oh, that drives me crazy.
I'm going to correct them. And my thing here is this is real simple. Everyone listen. I wouldn't have to correct you if you got it right the first time. And I'm a person who was corrected a lot in life. Okay, so if I get something wrong, I want to be corrected. Hey Tim, how we doing?
Oh, Mr. Dobson.
A lot of stuff out there. Well, okay, I'm going to use an example here, and then we'll get into the topic because I we're talking about how I like being corrected. I was down teaching a seminar in Texas. We started talking about the institutions that were during when Trump was in his first term of office that it was putting illegals and stuff of that nature. Well, I was under the impression that it was Trump, and it wasn't Trump. It was Obama who actually created those facilities. And as I talked to the Texans down there, because they're at the border, they're
right.
like, they gave me their interpretation as a local who's close to the situation versus a New Yorker who's nowhere near it.
Right.
And their position is real simple. Obama created them, and Trump's thing was, if you're going to get paid to do a job, do your damn job. So that was the big thing. And doing anything, obviously, there's growing pains, there's mistakes, situations that people don't think about and stuff like that. So, like looking at COVID, I don't think COVID was manufactured by us to create a police state and stuff of that nature. I think a bunch of people made mistakes. They tried to do initially what was right. Did certain people try to weaponize this for personal gains? I think they have. But initially, I think everyone was doing the right thing for the right reasons.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Or they tried to do things for the right reasons, whether it was the right thing or not.
Right.
And I don't mind having that conversation when someone tells me, Tim, you're wrong because of X, Y, and Z. So, and it's not personal.
No,
I don't like being wrong. I hate being wrong.
Nobody likes being wrong, but if you present it in such a way that's respectful, and you have the dialogue instead of the monologue, I think it can be actually a good thing, a way to grow.
So, like I said, I've made a bunch of mistakes. I've gone through some stuff. I know who I am now. Would I change the past? And the answer to that would be no, because I wouldn't do that to risk to become. I am who I am because of what I've been through.
Correct.
And I wouldn't risk changing the past, which may have changed me as a person. And
could have changed your path completely.
Exactly. I am here doing what I feel that I was meant to do. And if there's certain things that didn't happen, I wish I would have started earlier. But if I did, it may not have been Arnis. I wish some of these ideas I would have came up with, I'm coming up with now, I wish I would have done it while Professor was alive. But maybe he wouldn't agreed with my mindset because it wasn't going in the path that he wanted.
True.
There's a lot of things, that may not have worked, and it's all about timing. So
true, very true.
But
timing and atmosphere, the atmosphere you're in at the time.
And at the anniversary camp, the 10-year camp, the reunion, or actually the 10-year reunion and memorial camp, my big thing was, hey, I had this conversation. Listen, I hope I didn't do anything to hurt anyone here. I'm sorry about if I did, but at the end of the day, I wouldn't change what I did because it would change who I am, and I'm very cool with who I am. So
you got to be comfortable in your own skin.
Yeah,
definitely.
that being said, I just hope I didn't do anything of that nature. Now, so went down the rabbit hole a little, but because of stuff in the past, a bunch of us could have dealt with things a lot easier, a lot better.
Mm-hmm.
Like the will was never executed.
Mm-hmm.
That's a big stickler for me,
Right.
and people were never given the opportunity to say yay or nay to professors' wishes.
Which is,
professor named a whole bunch of people to become successors. They were never given the opportunity to say yes or no.
right.
These are the issues. So, and these are conversations that we would have. And of course, when you don't have that backstory and you hear someone like me pipping off about it and a whole bunch of other people, saying otherwise because it doesn't help their agenda,
Right. Right.
There's a song that came out by Hardy recently. It's called Sold Out. And talks about who he is and he didn't sell out. And I'm thinking that's my situation. And because I do feel people sold out and they're turning their backs on things that they know about, but it doesn't behoove them. Their agenda works better when they turn a blind eye to things. And that's not who I am.
Well, it's definitely unfortunate also, because if you look at parallels, especially between Modern Arnis and Jeet Kune Do, for example, when Bruce Lee passed away, almost the same thing happened. The groups under Bruce splintered. They became kind of the same way. They became that fractured family, kind of like Modern Arnis is, which is unfortunate, but it seems to happen in a lot of martial arts when the head of the system is passing.
We're going to do a show on this, and I know a lot of people say, "Oh, there's a lot of politics in Modern Arnis." To go, no, there isn't. There's a bunch of people who are in denial on certain things. Maybe we'll go that route.
Okay.
People who may want to try to run their own personal agenda and stuff like that. But if you want to get into politics, look at Parker's Kempo. Ed Parker passed away.
There you go.
91-ish, and they're still having problems. And that was a much bigger art, much bigger. If you haven't lived through your teacher passing. And when I mean live through, I don't mean were you alive when it happened. I'm talking you experience the aftermath of that.
Right.
Firsthand. Okay, I'm a first-gen student of Professor Presas.
Right.
There was no one in between him and I as far as student-teacher relationship goes.
Right.
And we can all get into this, and everyone back then, everyone's going to want to say they're the number one student. I'm the best of this. Okay. And, we can have that argument. I can hit you with a bunch of facts. Hey, Craig.
Hey, Mr. Mason, how are you?
I can hit you with a bunch of facts, and then you make your own decision. Like, I was the only one that had a dedicated school of the art. Well, before Professor passed away, I had produced 30 black belts that tested in front of him and got anywhere from basic black all the way up to third degree black belt, which is fourth level. I can hit you with all these things. Some people don't care because it doesn't fit their agenda. But like I said, we can have those arguments.
Right.
But, at the end of the day, if you were there, you would know what actually happened. And even then, it's still hard because that was before the internet.
Yeah, exactly.
I remember going to areas and then people would say, "Oh, I heard about Hartman. I thought he was a political black belt." Then he got on the floor and, well, we know better now. I'm like, political black belt? Who's talking about that? I mean, I had a hole in the wall school that was very good at producing students.
Right.
And, but, it wasn't like I had some mega school with 500-600 students on the floor and charging crazy money and all that other stuff. That was not who I was.
Right.
And at the time, what Professor charged for black belt testing, with negligible. So, so these are a bunch of the things that happen that contribute to us going in different directions.
Correct.
Like I said, we lost about 80 or 90% of our people between politics, between people getting the age where they just move on to other things. The other thing is, the big one is, it was a person. I mean, martial arts school is personality driven.
Right.
When the key figurehead is gone, a lot of people may have been attached to that person.
True. Very true.
Look at some bands that their lead singers left. Wasn't quite the same.
Right. Yeah. Journey.
Right. If
Van
we don't have
Halen.
questions, how do we learn to grow on this earth? Exactly. There you go. So,
and I would say you're right. There were probably some students out there that went, well, professor's gone. It's broken my heart. I really don't want to continue on with this because it'd be a constant reminder.
Right.
And that's unfortunate, but it does happen.
Well, it may have been those people that they were only there because he was there. So, I mean, I've gone to events. I know people in other styles too that they went away to, they had a big training camp and they just like going to the training camp.
Mm-hmm.
Like, when's the last time you picked up a stick? Last year at the training camp. What are you doing here? I love Remy and hanging out with him. Okay, all right. And I've seen other systems have the same kind of things as well.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just not one.
It's more the social gathering at that point.
Yeah. Well, like I said, there's people that would, professors in town. Oh, I'm going to support it, and we need that kind of support. I mean, here are people that, I don't do what you do, but I want to support what you do because, I like you guys, and you're good people, and yada. I mean, I've gone to tournaments that I've had no one competing, and I had a weekend free, and I popped in for a while. I'm like, what are you doing here? Well, do you need help judging? Yeah. Okay, I'm here to help. But why? Because you're close to me here, and you're around the corner, and I've got nothing going on at the moment, and I just like to pay it forward. These are for all the times that when I was younger, people judged me at tournaments.
Mm-hmm.
Those judges don't get paid for anything,
Right.
So now what do? We do it for the next generation. And then hopefully the kids coming up today will do it for the next generation, and keep that going so everyone's paying it forward,
Right. Right.
So we lost a lot of people, getting back to the topic. And with the 65th anniversary of Modern Arnis, I set a goal in our organization that I want to do 65 levels of black belt promotions to celebrate 65 years in the art.
So going into that,
yes,
you might explain to the audience when you say 65 levels, what it is you're actually talking about.
Okay. Well,
for clarification.
For as an example, let's say it was the 60th birthday, 60.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
We produce 10 6th-degree black belts. That's 60 levels. Or 20 3rd-degree black belts.
Right.
Or 60 1st-degree black belts.
Right. Right.
So I have the same mandate for the upcoming camp in 2027. But I got 3 tiers. Tier 1, we're going to do 70 levels of black belt at the Buffalo camp. Okay, here we go. In Rhode Island, here we see it with Nick Serious Systems too. Yep, happens everywhere. Yep. So we will hit 70 levels of black belt. I have no question in my mind. When we did the 65th anniversary, we knocked it out of the park. I think we had closer to 70 or 80 black belt levels of promotion. That was not a problem.
Nice.
And we're going to talk about, and when we're talking about, we're not doing promotions. We're producing people of quality.
Correct.
And they're testing. Now, there were some promotions for some people who were, one person we promoted to a 6th-degree black belt. He was a 4th-degree black belt while Professor was alive.
Mm-hmm.
20 some, actually, and his last promotion was probably 30 years ago. We took care of him. But that's not the only thing, this person has been doing the martial arts the entire time. His teacher, this is Sifu Alex, his student, Mike Williams is amazing, and he's going up. And I was like, well, this is the guy that produced him. I've crossed hands with him myself. He's still spreading the art. He's still staying active. It's not a rubber stamp. It's something that Professor would have done years ago if he was still with us.
Right. He showed the ability and the I'm trying to think of what else to say on that. He showed the ability and the capability of what he knows, and he's able to show it in a manner that continues. So you recognize that capability and that talent and that skill set.
The other thing here is, what we're not doing. And I know Jacob. I'm very fond of Grandmaster Ron Van Browning. Have we ever met by any chance? Because I've done a few seminars for him at his club before he left Texas, and then after he got back to Texas. So I'm not saying that we don't do things. We have met. Great. That's cool. Thanks. Yes, sir. We have met. Cool. And I'm not saying that we don't have some lifetime service type stuff.
Right.
But these are for people who are continuing. I'm just lately what we're not doing is, and what's been happening lately is there's been a rash of people getting promoted to 8th degree black belts and given grandmaster titles. They're following the combatant protocol, not the modern protocol. And it's people who are not producing students. Our position, we actually have this hardwired in to our rank structure where you're supposed to produce black belts and how many.
Yeah, I've seen it. I've seen it in the curriculum. Yep.
It's right in our thing. And in a situation like my school, where I'm the head guy, the under-level black belts, if they're helping out in classes, they get umbrellaed by the school. Currently I have, in class tonight, in addition to myself, I had one of my second degrees, which he just got back. He's been gone for a long time, but he could have easily passed the third degree test we just did. Instead, we're going to focus on getting them ready for his fourth at the 2027.
Nice.
But he's in, hey, Perry, how you doing? Or Pierre. Okay, my bad. Even my glasses still can be better. Whatchamacallit? So I had him. So I had a second degree on the floor, myself. I had Colin. I had three other. Okay, so I had in my adult class, I had one junior black belt who's just graduated to the adult class. So he's now working through the adult curriculum to start working on his adult ranking. And we can talk about how you can do that in a way that works out well for everybody. Because the junior ranking is not adult ranking. Now you got to go through that process. So we had one junior black belt. Actually, I had a yellow belt, adult yellow, the junior black belt. We had 4 first-degree black belts. Three first-degree black belts, and then the second-degree black belt. So it's so then normally what happens, I'll line up in front. The black belts are to my left, and then the color belts in front of me. So I decided to line up with all the black belts, and the yellow belt's like, you guys are really trying to emasculate me, aren't you? Yeah. But I mean, he goes, I could be worse with that. Oh, no. I know you could take it to a whole nother level. But because that's how we roll in Buffalo. We're just we bust each other's chops. We have a good time. It was good. It was good. It was really good.
You know, I kind of have the same thing going with my classes over, in Portland here. We try to get together. We try to have fun while we're doing, while we're learning stuff. And because I've always been, if you're not if you're not having the fun doing it, then why do it? In order to keep the interest up, you got to keep it fun. It keeps people coming back. They want more, and it just seems to work for me.
Cool. All right, here we go. Mike, how we doing from
Louisville, Kentucky.
So here's the deal. What we're working on right now, with all those people gone, that's what we're trying to level up. So my goal is to produce 70 levels of now tier 1 is 70 levels of black belts. So like 35 second degree black belts would do it. Okay. That'd be easy math. My next goal is 70 black belt promotions of any level. My final goal is 70 new first degree black belts. That's my goal. And now the goal, here's the reason why. I'm trying to replenish our numbers. That's why, so I like what tempo people say. Your first your first 5 belts are what you get out of the system. The second 5 are what you give back.
Right.
So, when I see people, once they pass 5th degree black belt, my question is really, I started before then, but really, okay, I'll let you slide at a 5th degree. Sure. Who am I? But when it comes to, this is the thing. You don't need to be ranked in anything. If you're just working out and having fun. If I had a small group, and there's like 4 of us that worked out together, none of us need rank if that's all we're going to do. But if I'm producing new students, then I need to be promoted high enough to be able to take care of my people. Now, fortunately, my ranks all came from the Grandmasters, plural. I was promoted to 7th level because it was black then first. So 6th degree. I was the highest tested black belt. And actually at the time, or in the States, and at the time, professor said that I was the highest ranked person in the States. So, and what I'm going to say, I'm not saying that I was the only 6th degree black belt.
Right.
What I'm going to say is I was the only active 6th degree black belt. And to be active, you need to be interactive.
Right.
So, and I was producing students. Every year I was bringing new students that were passing, and thumbs up for Remy. Yeah, there you go. I was producing more and more students, and I had people from other, I had black belts in US and Canada.
So you were international at that time.
Yep. Congratulations to Modern Arnis. Wax on, wax off. LOL, Aaron. Yep. Yeah, while Professor was alive, I had my own tour.
Right.
So I was teaching 15 seminars a year. I was teaching in Denmark and Sweden. And this is while Professor was still, this is before he got diagnosed.
Right.
I'm wanting to get back into shape. However, I had reconstruction shoulder, and any advice? So I just had my, I can't, feel free
Timely
to
question.
share, Mike. Feel free to share, but I got you on this because I just had, my bicep was detached. Actually, I have a tear in my bicep and a torn rotator cuff from a car accident. So, I was fine. I'm fine now. Although my right shoulder is kind of jacked up from compensating, or maybe I didn't realize how messed up my right shoulder was. Unfortunately, where I am because there is a lawsuit, I'm in that position where I really can't do anything about it. But and Mike says good deal. So you're saying good deal for the advice I'm talking about, not good deal that you're messed up. Well, I'm trying to look up Mike. I can't even find him here. I'm trying to find him on Facebook, but because he's logging in from Facebook. Did I punch that right? SIEVERT. Yeah. That's my strong side that I had operate on. Okay. Yeah, so it was my left, but now it's my right side. Yeah, like I said, okay, so my left arm, I am on point. I'm feeling really good on that, but I now understand what pain and suffering is all about. When they talk about pain and suffering, oh my God. When I went in, we talked about some stuff, and I didn't think I was going to. I was so concerned about my arm when we went in there, and the doctor said that they think they can help us with physio alone, which they didn't.
Mm-hmm.
I almost started crying. I was so happy. I started on a very strong comeback, but then I plateaued nowhere near where I started.
They were expecting you to?
Well, I mean, it was like, yeah, you need surgery. I actually started going backwards. I felt, I knew, like, as time went on, I'm like, no, I tore my bicep. What? No, I'm pretty sure there's a tear in my bicep. They opened me up. You have a tear in your bicep. So, so we did like 6 months of physio, and then I got into surgery, and I got to the point where they let me go because you're never done with physio. Like, you do your own physio.
Right.
There's this how much we're going to pay you to go physio, and then the rest,
right.
And they were very happy. I was like way ahead of it. Even when I was doing regular physio before the surgery, I was so far ahead of everything. And then when I got to the one thing, I have some problems, and the PA is like, yeah, she's like, there's nothing more we can do. They go, well, what do you suggest? You go, you need to get cut. I'm like, okay, well, let's do this. All right, great. She was so happy for me. I'm like, okay. And my left arm, I am so happy. The improvement, not where I'm at yet. But unfortunately, my right arm is so messed up. It's functional. My strong arm is functional, but and it lets me do my stick work. But when I'm doing some of my shielding and my open hand combatives, I can notice the difference. I mean, let's put it this way. If I have to hit somebody, I'm going to put them down. I'm going to be in a lot of pain. And it's probably the Gen X in me going, I'm going to kill you and deal with the repercussions afterwards. I'll cry like a little baby. I'll do it. But I mean, I know I've been beat up before. I mean, I've been banged up before. And someone was like, oh, you're all messed up. Well, these guys are giving us a hard time. I'll take care of it. But how can you do that? I'll take care of it. And it's just, I grew up with that old school grit. So
you're right. Right.
Love your videos and your style. I'm not sure if they teach that where I'm located. Well, where are you located, Mike?
Located.
Yeah. I also have a long distance training program too, which we're going to be talking about that on another show. Actually, I'm going to be talking about, I'm probably opening up my long distance training for night classes again.
Oh, nice.
One night a week I might do, just to keep my hand in it. Louisville, Kentucky. Louisville. Yeah, I don't know anyone down there.
He said that before. Sorry about that, Mike. We said that once before. I apologize.
Too many people. We're
Too
talking.
many people.
I've got the rabbit brains or the dog brains. Squirrel.
So
So with my mandate now, this is what I'm doing. And I'm doing a tour for the next 2 years. What the whole thing is to now, I don't think I can do 70 black belts. 70 new black belts. I don't think I can do 70 new black belts. But that doesn't mean I'm not going to try.
Exactly. If you don't try, you're not going to know if you can succeed. And you can't win without trying. You may succeed in getting 70 new black belts. You never know, but you won't know until you try.
There you go. And actually, I wrote an article on this. I would love to come to Texas if I have someone that can sponsor me. Here's the problem. Okay, well, this is what I do for a living, everyone. This is my profession. I teach martial arts, not talk on the internet. Although I'm doing that pretty good too.
Yes, you are.
I had someone reach out to me. We used this facility in the past, and basically, I felt the need to come down. We're having problems with the venue, and we reach out to somebody and go, "Hey, how much do you use your facility?" Great, okay. And it was supposed to happen. Then COVID happened, threw a big wrench in everything. So I felt the need to make it up to people. So I flew down on my dime. I got my own hotel. We did ground transportation. We did everything I needed to do. And I rented somebody's facility.
Mm-hmm.
Fast forward, I'm talking to the host. Reached out to me. Hey, when you wanna come back and do another one of those? Oh, anytime you want. So you're going to take on the financial responsibility? Oh no, no. It'd be the same as before. And I'm like, oh no. No. And here's the thing. It's not that I don't want to go down, but I made a commitment in my mind and I wanted to fulfill that. And no matter how many people, I had a bunch of people that were planning on going. And then at the last minute, I had to cancel the event because of COVID and all the governors out there that said, no, you can't do this. So I'll give you another example. I was supposed to go to Germany, Italy, and Poland.
Mm-hmm.
Italy, the host died.
Ooh.
Poland, because they weren't prepared to take on the extra financial burden, so they backed out. So I'm going to Germany. I'm about to call the host and say, I'm not coming. It was actually Dieter Kanoodle. He and I were doing a double Datu event.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Just about to say no. And then this woman we know, I know her sister, Noah. I can't remember her name right now. So John Escoto,
Mm-hmm.
The lightning scientific guy from Escudero.
Okay.
I know his wife and I know his sister-in-law. So they're both all three of them are living in Israel right now.
Okay.
So the sister-in-law reaches out to me. Hey, Tim, I'm looking forward to seeing you. I just bought my tickets from Israel. All right, I'm flying there. I went, and then we talked about this, and then and I think I'm pretty sure it was Noah and Nora. Yeah, Noah and I we were arguing about something, and she's like, "I'm not talking to you. I'm not talking to you." And she is a ball buster like there's no tomorrow, and she just wasn't used to someone giving it to her like I am. Usually, she emasculates all the men. And I'm like, no. I'm at a whole nother level here, And she's all upset. And I go, Dieter, tell her what? Tell her why I'm here. What? Oh yeah. And he goes, why is Tim here? I go, Tim was about to cancel the seminar. He was, but then he found that you bought a ticket to go to Germany, and he wasn't going to back out because you spent money to go see him, and he flew over here. I don't want to say just because of her, but she was the deciding. And I figure if she did that, others did the same thing. If it was early enough, I would have canceled it. But when she told me that she paid the ticket to be there and attend the seminar, there was no way I'm backing out from this event.
Right.
Oh, Stuart, Virginia. Right. Wow. David Parker. So, here's a cool one. So, speaking of promotions, we this is one of our associates. So Raymond Montoya was a student of Remy Presas. He was a partner of PG Tie Botting. So recently they did a 5th degree PG, and this is Abel. He's another one of our Texas guys. So this is down in Texas. So they did the 5th degree promotion, and then I said I would be willing to match it if he wants an organizational versus just a personal. I go, and he's like, Tim, I think that would be a great touch. Not that I felt the need. He goes, like, if I gave him if we did this organizational promotion, because I have a lot of respect for, I know Montoya, phenomenal martial artist. How would he take in all this other stuff? So we did a digital diploma at the time, and then Mr. Montoya was supposed to come up to the Buffalo camp, and things went sideways. Just life, you know how it is.
Right.
And so I sent the diploma down, and officially it was awarded. So
nice.
I'm happy. I always try to keep my Facebook open while we're doing this in case someone reaches out to me. So I was like, that's awesome. I'm digging it.
Yeah, it's a gorgeous certificate too.
Yeah, I mean, okay, I had that done by Ed Parker Jr. So
nice.
Yeah, that's why our diplomas are really
nice.
People are just going nuts on it, and I don't do this stuff to. We've from the beginning. There's people who've been left out of the loop, lost in the shuffle, and we took care of them. And like I said, now recently I've been noticing a paradigm of people just doing this, and I think it boils down to gaining support. We tell people, these are people that I like, that we've supported over the years. I go, listen, here's the deal. We're doing this because we feel it's the right thing done to do. Remy would have done it. Boom.
Right.
If you want to continue your training and get your next level, then we have a path for that. And here's the curriculum.
Right.
But I've only done this to about 6 people in 30 years. So it's not this thing that, it's not a thing to recruit people. So.
It's a dare I say, a Datu prerogative.
Yeah. So speaking of my prerogative, someone asked me, would I count people like Bruce Chu and Kelly Warden if they started producing black belts? What do you think I said?
You said no, because this is I'm assuming you're viewing this from the steeple, if you will, of the World Modern Arnis Alliance, and that this is a World Modern Arnis Alliance challenge, and not necessarily a full Modern Arnis challenge, if that makes any sense.
Exactly. This is something I decided to do. I am not going to. Who am I to make anybody else be part of this?
Makes sense.
I'm talking about what the goal for the World Modern Arnis Alliance is. And here's the thing. You can't hit a goal if you don't share that goal. True. So I've had people reach out to me. They're thinking about becoming part of this. I'm not happy enough with just 70 black belts. Even if I got 70 black belts all by themselves. Now, the person, like I said, a person asked me, what do I think? And actually, I want to look at this right now because I want to see if there's been a comment since then. So the comment to me was, does this include promotions through Kelly Warden and Bruce Chu and others? And my response, no, I'm not counting anyone else's promotions. This is a mandate I set for myself and my team. If others want to do something similar, that would be fantastic for the art.
Yes.
The more quality black belts we produce, the stronger and more enduring Modern Arnis becomes.
Exactly.
So I would love, and I'm going to look at the...
And again, the rising tide raises all ships.
Yep. And fortunately, the person who wrote that actually did give me a thumbs up. I was waiting to see when I responded how long it would take for them to see that, because I just wasn't sure and stuff. But, let's talk about the groups that are out there. Okay. In North America, we've got Kelly Warden has natural NSI.
Mm-hmm.
So it is part of Modern Arnis is part of what he does.
Correct.
Okay.
But it's not everything he does.
No, but he's got what it takes to develop black belts in Modern Arnis if that's what he chose to
Very
do.
true. Yeah, very true. Very true.
If that was his choice.
Mm-hmm.
You've got Bruce Chu.
Mm-hmm.
Bruce Chu is doing stuff down in Florida. Yeah, those raised over there. So you got Bruce Chu there. You've got Kenny Smith and Chuck Goss in the IMAF. They're a team together.
Mm-hmm.
You've got Brian Zawolinsky, who was with them, is now his own man.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other name that was mentioned was Dan Anderson's.
And then there was one name off of that list.
What's that?
Herb Blue.
And these were guys that were leaders of the organization, specifically, or heads of systems, or
Gotcha.
orgs, and not to leave. There's a lot of people left out on that. I mean, you can talk about Wendy Dragonfire, you can talk about Janet Alves, Jay Spiral. I mean, I can go through a whole bunch of things, but when I'm talking about people who are running organizations,
you're talking organizations themselves. Gotcha.
Or claim to be relevant at that level.
Mm-hmm.
Now there's 5 I mentioned, and then there's me. Okay. So if all 6 of these entities stepped up, instead of my 70 black belts or 70 promotions or 70 levels, well, let's go promotions versus. And the whole idea is these need to be quality promotions. They can't be rubber stamps that I've been seeing as of late. I need to see people that are producing stuff. So handing out a bunch of ranks to people who aren't producing, why? What's the point?
Right.
There's a bunch of people in a circle jerk wondering why, old people in a circle jerk wondering why they don't have any kids. You got
you got to put in the work.
You got to put it in somewhere. Do or not do. Do or not do. There is no try.
Do or do not. There is no try.
So here's the thing. If all 6 of us entities produce 70 black belt promotions each. Yes.
That's 420.
Remy got it. And I don't want to go 420 because they're going to go, everyone's going to go, it's a 420 celebration. Let's smoke up. But no, that's not it. So 420 black belt promotions.
Yep.
That's what 6 wants to do. Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And if we could do that,
then we could do a 420 celebration after that, of course.
It's not my thing. I don't judge. Here's the thing. Here's my thing about people who smoke. I don't care if it doesn't affect me. But when I'm out in public, I don't want to smell your skanky weed all over you. When I'm in a store and I can smell you from 3 aisles away, you have a problem. That's and that's not and if you're doing edibles, I don't care. And of course, don't do buzz driving because
right.
Still illegal no matter what you do. But
I don't imbibe myself. I was just saying for those that do.
But let's think about this right there. You talked about 420 black belts.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say it was only 420 promotions.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we didn't do the 420 new black belts, but it was 420 including people who were already black belt. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
That means we have 420 active black belts.
Right.
That's huge.
That is huge.
Or that would be huge.
Exactly. And depending on the situation, it could equal out to either 420 new schools to 420 new training training groups, or in other words, new places, new people all over, so other folks can start studying with them as well and have that close to their own towns and spread it out that much more.
So that is, that is my thing. That's my jam. And what I'd like to see, is that we, I started Modern Arnis and I want to continue with Modern Arnis. Well, we can help you with that. Just, message me afterwards. And we've got the Modern Arnis University, which is an online program, which is pre-recorded stuff. And then there's the other, which is interacting with people, because we do live classes and stuff of that nature. Why is that not? Oh, okay. That's why. So, so I talked about ashes in my post about from ashes to reconstruction of the legacy. 6,600 views of that blog post talking about my mandate. And like I said, this is my mandate. It's not your mandate. It's no one else's mandate. Anyone who wants to join up with what I'm doing, you're welcome. I'm not going to count your numbers. Don't you dare count mine. Let's see what we can do individually. Do you want to take it as a challenge? I challenge you to do better than me because it's a win-win.
Of course.
And listen, you're not going to. I'll say it right now. It's not going to happen. No one has my numbers in North America. Not for Modern Arnis. Dan just shut his school down.
Yeah.
Is he even teaching? Did he get a spot where he's teaching a couple nights a week? I know he's planning.
That's what I heard, was that he was teaching MA 80, or at least the Modern Arnis portion of it, a couple nights a week at another school. But I had heard that through the grapevine. I don't have a lot of details on that, so I can't comment.
Yeah, so I don't know if that ever came to fruition or not. But I mean, teaching part-time out of somebody else's school, that's he doesn't have a school, Brian Zielinski teaches privately out of his house. He's not going to have those numbers,
Right.
So I would take those two right off the top,
And I'd have to excuse my school right off of that as well, because I'm currently teaching out of another school, but I have my own time slot.
But you'd be able to add to the WMA numbers.
True.
See, you're part of it. You're part of our team.
True.
And even,
true.
And listen, and if every other group added 5 or 10, that's still better because it's more.
True.
More is more. David Foggy, how we doing, brother?
Hello, Mr. Foggy. How are you?
And Jacob says definitely. Yeah, just message me. You can do like datutim@gmail.com. That's a good one. Or you can get me on WhatsApp. If I was only 150, it'd be amazing. If it was only 150, my glasses aren't the best ones out here. At 4 new quality black belts per year in the org would be enough. It would be.
Yeah.
We had a huge year. I mean, this camp was freaking huge for us.
Oh,
it was the 25th anniversary camp. It was
awesome. Amazing. It was amazing. I wish I could have been there, but it was freaking amazing, and I'm so glad I at least got a chance to send you guys a video.
There we go. We appreciate it. We did play it.
Oh, good.
Let me see here.
I even stole your tagline.
Which one?
I'll see you on the inside.
that tag. I was like, which tagline? What? I thought you watched it. I did. I just, let's see. MA 25th anniversary. Here we go. What? I'm looking for the right. I gotta look for the right photo. Okay, that was one day. Let's do. Oh yeah, here we go. So we had like 75 people there.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
boom,
Everything everything I heard about it after the fact was absolutely fantastic. I got to tell you, the reviews were off the charts. And
then the big one is like, so, and I think I'm going to do a show on this too. We had an open door test.
ooh.
So I've had other people, they do closed door testing. I'm like, why? What do you have to hide? So this, let me see. So there's the thing. So who didn't test was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. The rest of that group all got black belts and degrees thereof. The kids got their junior black belts, and a lot of my adult black belts started with me when they were 3.5 and little Arnisadors, went to the junior program, and then so by the time these kids right here get their adult black belt, they'll have been training the art for close to a decade.
Mm-hmm.
I know someone's going to say, "Well, it's a junior
and you know that when they do go out and they start training other students, that they're going to be doing it absolutely per the curriculum because they've already got 10 years in on it."
Now, here's the cool thing: you see those swords that they have in their hand?
Mm-hmm.
Because I got the hookup this year, everybody who tested got a sword.
Nice.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah. Plus their diplomas, like we already showed you the diplomas, like the kids ones. I'm very pleased with myself. These are the kid diplomas.
Oh, those are nice too.
To separate the difference between the kids and the adults.
Right. Those are really nice.
Yeah.
Very well done.
Thank you. Every diploma so I have an Epson printer. Oh, of course, I'm sleeping while I'm talking to people. I don't know. Here are the adult diplomas.
Yeah, those are nice.
If you know where to look, there's a wolf right here. You can see the face right there.
Mm-hmm.
The dragon, there's a Modernist belt, Lapu Lapu down there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So there was all the swords were up there.
Nice.
It's your fault.
And more there. So every diploma is numbered.
Nice.
I go through every diploma. I hand do it. They're all signed by me, and they're signed by. And like when I do my color belt promotions for the organization, what happens is if you are a grading officer, you order your diplomas from me. I'll fill them all out, and every number, every name, the date, and then I've got electronic signature for that.
Mm-hmm.
That's fine. If you're being tested at my camp, you will have a handwritten signature on there. We don't do that. It's all on point. And
nice.
It just and the cool thing is the only thing that are done by hand is the signatures. Everything else is printed up on the computer. So there's a consistency. You don't have to worry about getting a calligrapher to do anything. And it's a pain in the butt, So these are all filled out. I can do them on the spot. I told, it was hilarious. I told people, I'm printing up all these diplomas before camp. Any of y'all fail, I'm tearing them up. So I walked out, and I grabbed the diploma, this diploma, and I tear it up in front of everybody. Whoa! Yeah, there's a mistake on that one. What's the mistake? I filled out the wrong rank. But everyone lost it. They thought I just went sideways. That
one monstrous gasp.
take a white belt to earn his black. So what I'm going to say, Matt, is usually 3 to 5 years for a normal person. No. I don't want to say normal person. The average person with no experience coming into this is 3 to 5 years. For black belts in related systems, it's a lot quicker. So, my goal is to go around. And here's the other thing too: is and I'm letting you know this ahead of time. It's not me working the system, but I've had people that want to look at getting tested with us. And here's what they got to look like. If they come from a Modern Arnis background, if they have another Modern Arnis one, the deal is this. If you know anything about Taekwondo, you know that there's ITF and WT Taekwondo. It used to be WTF until the texting thing and Master Ken started like, what the freak Taekwondo. So so there's international versus world. The forms are different. They're two different programs, even though they're both Taekwondo.
Right.
When I look at all of the Modern Arnis, I look at the same way. I'm not saying I won't acknowledge someone's black belt, but if you're a black belt in another group and you want to get a black belt higher from us, then you need to learn our curriculum. If you come through my door, I will honor you in most cases unconditionally. I need to know where you're coming from and all this other stuff. And I would start everyone with the basic, yes, you are a black belt in the art. But you don't know our curriculum. And if you're getting our paper, you need to know what we're teaching.
Gee, could that be through the immersion seminars, possibly?
Possibly immersion seminars. Or coming to our camps and stuff like that. Okay, here we go. I have an actual signature. Yes, there was a time I was doing them by hand, color certificate. I think it was blue. Yep. Okay, and then, hey, Tim, what is your age when you first started training on a Remy? I was 19 years old. I was 19 turning 20. I was 1985. So it was early. It was early. It was like I started. Well, actually, I started training at the Filipino Karate Academy in 1985. That's when I got my yellow belt, 1985, if I'm not mistaken. Or no, yeah, well, no. In 1985, I started training. I'm still doing this. It drive me crazy when the Philippines are calling me during time zone. So I started in 1985 with John Bryant. John Bryant was the head person, but Remy Presas was a backer and financier of the school. About a year and a half in, I had a falling out with the instructor, John, who's no longer with us. He passed away with liver cancer. And we had long story short, I wanted to get more classes in as this. Once I became an apprentice instructor or the basic instructor, I ended up taking over the club. I taught all the kids classes. I taught pretty much all the beginner classes, and he would teach the advanced classes at times. Didn't get paid, but the goal was I was supposed to be taught. I did the demo team. I did this. I did that. I did the other thing. Well, long story short, he goes, all right, we're going to put you back in the rotation. Great. All this stuff. And we went through the whole thing. And the last thing, he slips in there. Yeah, we have to talk about your tuition and stuff like that and go into other things like this. I can't have you in front of the head of the demo team because you need to be one of the instructors, whatever. You need to do this, that, or the other thing. I'm like, okay, whatever. But like I said, he slipped that. We'll address your tuition farther down the road. I'm like, you have any questions? I go, yeah, let's talk about this tuition thing. I go, I taught for you for a year. You weren't giving me classes. I taught for you. I taught every kid's class. So I was there 5 days a week training. I was there Monday through Thursdays and then Saturdays. I'd get there early. We actually renovated one of the rooms, turned it into a weight gym. I brought my weights in.
Mm-hmm.
And granted, I did that on my own. No one asked me to do it. But went through all that stuff. And, but I like I said, he didn't teach a kids class in over a year. He didn't teach a beginner's class in over a year. And he was talking about putting me back in the student rotation so I could get classes. Well, which means you weren't giving me classes. So I said, let's take a month off. We got a demo that I helped set up that weekend, and then I'll take the month off, and then we'll go from there. Well, I never went back. He never called me, and then I got a phone call from Professor, and he said, if I want to, he goes, do you want to continue? I go, but who's going to train me? And we went back and forth. Do you want to continue? Who's going to train me? And finally he goes, listen, if you want to continue, I'll be your teacher. Oh. So
no brainer.
That was 87 when I became a direct student of his. I started the first martial art legitimately training was Modern Arnis, 1985. 2 years later, I become a direct student of his. So, I'm 21. And, and the rest was history. And I got to say, we talk about changing, we talked about before, I wouldn't change a thing. When I walked into that school, it changed my life's trajectory. John died of liver cancer. John tried to get a hold of me a couple times. I was talking to Dan Anderson. He was the one that, hey, listen, he's going to die. Okay. All right. Because, Dan and him were in the same church together.
Oh, I see.
So I couldn't get a hold of him. He had moments when he was awake, he was on point, and then he was wiped out. So finally I called and I left a message on his voicemail. I go, listen, you know what? I know we didn't always see eye to eye, but if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't be doing what I am today. And I really do appreciate that. And, this is the part that people get wrong about me. I acknowledge everyone that's helped me to a fault. And sometimes I stopped acknowledging things because back in the day, what you used to do with a resume, you would list people that you attended seminars with or other influences. And I remember a person that said, hey, I started teaching some of the material that I learned from them in a seminar. So I put them on my list of other influences. Like I did the same with a friend of mine, Huck Polanis, and from Parker's Kempo. He influenced me a lot of my teaching. Now, so this guy in particular started, you got to take this up. So then I just said, listen, there's material I'm teaching I got from you, and I want to give proper credit. Okay.
Right.
But if you want me to take this off, I will. From that point on, I redid my resume. I don't talk about other people anymore unless I feel it's relevant to talk about it. So, when we're at when I'm talking about material, if I'm teaching X, Y, or Z, I'll say, by the way, I got this from so-and-so, but I no longer document that because people got twisted and went, and I'm trying to, and I went too much where I tried to give too much credit. But
I see.
But that being said, I acknowledge John Bryant. If it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be doing what I am today. I look at Don Zangi. He's the guy that brought Modern Arnis to Buffalo. If it wasn't for him, we may never have been doing Filipino martial arts. There's so much stuff. You can play it all different ways. How far back do you want to take this? How much credit do you want to give? If it wasn't for Remy leaving the Philippines, if it wasn't for those politicians that put a hit on him or those generals, I might not be doing what I'm doing today. So,
at the at the same time you started, clear over here on this side of the country, I was getting my first introduction to Filipino martial arts from a seminar with Professor Ted Lucay.
Oh, nice.
And he was doing a seminar here in Portland on Lucay Kali, and that's where I got my first introduction. I went, "What is this? This is really cool," and started to try and follow it to a certain degree. But I was the same age as you. I was about 18, 19 years old at the time.
I met his grandson.
Oh, nice.
It was either grandson or grandnephew, but he actually attended a seminar I was teaching at.
Nice.
And then I stabbed him in the belly. There's a story there. So it's kind of funny how, six separation, I could do the 6 degrees of separation game. So,
well, here's the equal funny part of that.
Mm-hmm.
The school that I went to for this seminar with Professor Ted was run by Professor Leonard Trigg.
Oh, nice.
At the time. So, and then Professor Leonard was named as Professor Ted's next in line to take over Lucay Kali after Professor Ted passed. So,
cool. All right. Well, listen. There are a couple things I want to touch base because we have been talking for quite a long time.
Yep.
But let's do this here. That's great to learn from the best. Speaking of which, and I'm glad Jacob, you read my mind. You actually opened the door for my latest thing. So I'm always trying to have my students learn about something. And when I ask them questions all the time, and I'm trying to be focusing on more of becoming the educator, not just being the technician. I want to, I wanted, and listen, I was one of the top guys out there, no questions asked. Okay. And, but I constantly talk about things because the one thing the professor was lacking was verbal skills because English was his third or fourth language. It was probably his fourth language or fifth language. It wasn't his primary language. So, so we have a lot of lack of communication. So, my goal is to try to work on those aspects that were lost or weren't, and so one of the things I talked to my students today, because there's a couple lessons that are constant through this. And I asked them, okay, what are the 2 reasons you think why Professor was as good as he was? I mean, listen, Professor Presas was legendary. I've gone hands-on with some of the top names of the industry. There's only 3 people that have this kind of feel. Remy Presas, Wally J, and Dr. Mungji. A feel that when they touch you, there's not a damn thing you can do about it. And Remy's best friend was Wally J. And the comparison is, and some of you will not get this one, Remy Wally J was like Droopy Dog. And he'd walk up mild mannered, you made me mad. And then he'd throw you around the room and just where Remy Presas was the Tasmanian devil.
Yeah.
He was a buzzsaw. Both of these guys are people that everyone knows, that most people know about both of them. I asked him, why do you think these guys, specifically this to Remy, and I applied it to Wally J as we talked, I go, what are the 2 reasons why Remy was as good as he was? So I'm saying hands-on, you will probably not find a martial artist at his level. Okay. Even the still ones that are living, they just weren't what he was doing. So I'm going to ask you, what there's two things in my mind that made him who he was. I'm wondering what, if you can guess what one of those or both of those were.
One of the things I would venture a guess to be his background, his upbringing, due to the fact that he came up during World War II. His father and his grandfather were teaching the Filipino guerrillas, and so is part of that family system, and he being drenched in that, where it was do or die actual combat. And then, of course, as we know, Professor turned around and changed it to be more self-defense. But still, it was that kill or be killed background, I think, is probably a big thing that helped in making Professor who he was, and making it so when he went hands-on with you, that's where you got that feeling from, is you knew that if he wanted to, he'd kill you. Plain, pure, and simple. Plain, pure, and simple. Because he had that background. There's no fear.
Any other guess?
And I mean, he lived on the edge right there.
There's two things. So that's one thing you're mentioning, and it's in the ballpark of, we might be, when I come out and say what I'm going to say, I just may have you be using different words, but
okay,
you're pretty on point there.
And the fact that he was able to train you and train the other, all of the other first generation students, also kept him in that practice. It kept his edge sharp, if you will.
So you're not far off. So here's the first thing I tell my students all the time. And let me see, Aaron, just curious. Well, we would say professor. And then after that, we could argue me, but that's another story. Jonas, hello. Small circle jiu-jitsu, yep. Wally, small circle jiu-jitsu. Learn other arts and mold things into modern Arnis. He had no other option. So here's what I'm going to say. Because I always talk to my students about this, and I think and this is the thing, is like, the first thing I'll say is, Eric, how do you get good at something?
You practice.
How do you get better?
You practice more. You continue it. You do it every time.
Sort of. You practice with more people.
That's true.
So, I mean, okay, you can't compare him to his brothers because it's not fair, because Remy had a decade head start.
Right. That makes sense.
So Remy at his best, or Ernesto at his best, he was just come up short when it comes to time in. Because they more or less passed at the same time. And unlike Remy, the closer Ernesto was getting to that same age, his health was dropping.
Mm-hmm.
So he had strokes and stuff of that nature, and so it would keep him from training. Professor, I don't know of anyone who crossed hands with the quantity of people that Professor did.
Mm-hmm.
He was doing 2 seminars a weekend, probably 30 years of his life.
Mm-hmm.
Each of those seminars would have 60 to 80 people. And he tried to make sure he talked to everybody and cross hands with people as much as possible. He interacted with as many people as possible. Oh, how are you doing, baby? What's going on? Da, da, da. Oh, you're very good. Da, da, da. He was a master at that. But the thing here is, if you only work with your training partner, it's different than when you work with everybody in the room.
Good point.
The more hands you cross with, the better you will become. I don't know of anybody in my industry that does the quantity of seminars that I do. That's all.
I don't know anybody in that industry that I agree with you totally. I don't know. I have not heard anybody else who does it either. So that which makes getting you here into Portland a pain in the butt.
So that's the first thing. But today I said something a little different to my students, and you were kind of led with it, said it a little different. Okay, so once again, the more hands you cross with, the better you will become.
Correct.
Okay. The other thing, what Remy was the guy who he was. He did this for real.
Exactly.
So there are, okay, so I've had a lot of hands-on experience in my life. That is not a requirement to become a martial artist. I do not want my students to go through the bullshit I've gone through for decades. I have seen and have been a victim of violence throughout my life. I learned how to handle myself before I did martial arts. So this was not an escape. I'm being bullied and I went into martial arts. I was bullied. People laid hands on me. I laid hands back. Sometimes I was doing okay. Other times I didn't. But the thing, it got to the point where people realized that if you're going to touch me, there's consequences. That doesn't, and the thing here is, when it comes to the bully situation in general, they want people that aren't going to fight back.
Right.
Once you start swinging back, people reconsider, and that goes back when we're talking about disarming, how most people don't demonstrate the disarms realistically because they're not concerned about the person in front of them hitting them back. So,
right.
They attack all in, which gives me the opportunity to do my disarm. But that's a side conversation. I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole because I can very easily do that. So the big thing here is Professor lived this shit. Yes. I mean, he fought in the streets with no gear, no nothing. There's a lot of famous Filipino martial artists who never fought.
Right.
And I'm not talking sparring.
No.
And so I had jiu-jitsu class today. We talked about a whole bunch of things. And, I am the first person to admit that, it's very easy to get a little resistance training in jiu-jitsu.
Right.
The problem happens though. Everyone ends up rolling, but no one ends up working technique. So what'll happen is if you miss your technique day, you have technique days and then you have rolling days.
Mm-hmm.
Well, rolling is like a drill.
Mm-hmm.
No matter what you put into so if you take a drill is a mixing bowl. If you put pour ingredients in that bowl, no matter how good that bowl is, you still got crap. So we have to make sure if all you ever do is spar, you're only going to progress so far. You need to continue doing technique and drills and strategy. Have your technical class, have your attribute class, and then have your non-compliance or sparring class.
Mm-hmm.
And you got to go through all those phases and those things. And, if you're not doing it, then how are you going to get, you got to do it all. Because, you got to spar all the time. No, you don't have to spar all the time. Mm-hmm. But you do have to spar.
Exactly.
You don't have to do technique all the time. But you do have to
have to do technique in order to learn the technique so that you can then turn around and try and introduce it into sparring.
Hey, I do forms. It's in our system. That is not the majority of my timing or my training, but it does give me options to train things on my own that I might not always be able to do because I'm on my own. When there's people around me, I get to do stuff. Mm-hmm. When there's not people around me, I need to practice other things, and this gives me that nice, happy medium between the two. But that's just my thinking. Like I said, my whole thing is, cross hands with many people as possible. And if you can, and the people who are better than others are probably the people who did it for real. Mm-hmm. And Remy had that. And it's not a, I know that's a general statement. Okay. I'm not trying to say that you can't do it, just because you haven't done it for real doesn't mean, anything. It's just there's a big package. You know what I'm saying?
There's an added attribute there. It's an added attribute when you've had to do it for real. There is an added attribute.
I know what works. So when I come to teaching things, because I've done things real in my life, I have a different approach to training. Hopefully my students will get those lessons without having to go through the school of hard knocks that I went through.
Correct.
Because it's dangerous out there and people die. And I don't want that to happen. Yeah. All right. So we've gone down the rabbit hole because that's what we do. I want to just talk about one thing before we go.
Okay. What
this whole show was about. So for the next 2 years, I'm working on my reconstruction tour to revive the legacy of Modern Arnis. No one person can do it on their own. I can teach a seminar, but people still have to attend it. You know, when you watch a show and you have, you say, hey, this is a one-man show. I'm pretty sure that one man didn't sell tickets at the door. They're not the usher. They're not the person working the concession stand. It takes a whole bunch of people to build what we do. So I am looking for as many people who are interested and wants to be part of this movement. We've got a very good program, a very good Modern Arnis program. We've got 2 years, which is enough time to get the job done.
Mm-hmm.
If there's old Modern Arnis people out there that have kind of went by the wayside, and because it just, it wasn't the same without Remy. I'm going to go that one. It wasn't the same without Remy. We didn't have social media. We didn't have a network like we do today. If Remy would have died 10 years ago, we would have stayed together much longer for more reasons. And here's what I'm going to do this right now, because people have given me shit. And then when I put this in their face, they kind of, it's not I don't shove it in their face, but I try to put things in consequence or in context. Because I want to say people are dumb. I want to say people don't always think. So, okay, back in the day.
When I was an OG.
Well, no, we don't go OG. I don't like OG. Well, actually, I was an OG, original gamer.
Yeah.
But because I work with LEOs and stuff like that, I don't like when people say OG. Hey, Carl, how you doing, Carl? Do we have any confirmation from the resort? Since you're on there. The guy who I do the Caribbean Martial Art Festival.
Right.
Okay, so to put things in context, I was talking to Chris Chu once. He was actually on our show. And he was telling us a story about how a guy, this is while Remy was alive, guy came down, said he was the East Coast director of Modern Arnis. I think he was in a supply store or something. And he goes, oh, you must know Bruce Chu. Who? Bruce Chu. Never heard of him. So Chris, who loves his father, and we all love our fathers. We don't necessarily always like our fathers all the time, but we all love our fathers.
Right.
Got really, when he told me that story, he was very upset about it. And I'm like, yeah, but no one knew who your father was. He goes, what? How can no one know? I go, okay, so first of all, for those who weren't around back in the day, we didn't have the internet. Okay. The internet happened. Oh, holiday weekend for them. We'll be chatting tomorrow. Okay. All right. I'm a rabid dog when it comes to this stuff, and I'm not going to go off the topic, Carl. Carl's younger brother is going to be reminding him because I'm tenacious. So, but someone has to do that. So, and what I'm saying, this is not about, this story is to put things in context about how things fell apart and we weren't together. So I'm trying to tell Chris about this. I'm like, back then we did a thing called mail. We would mail flyers to each other. To find out where the seminars were, you looked up in Black Belt Magazine or Inside Kung Fu. There was no internet. I think the internet really hit. I mean, the internet was up while Remy was still with us. But let me see here. At the time of his passing in 2001, 28.3% of Americans had cell phones. 2001 was the first cell phone with internet. Facebook started in 2004, YouTube in 2005, Instagram 2010.
And if you want to go way back, don't forget MySpace.
Yeah, I don't even know when that started.
That was
AOL,
way before Facebook.
AOL was the second most popular CD at one time.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what the number one was. I think that probably was Thriller. But let's see here. Okay, so we didn't have today's technology. I mean, back then, internet was dial-up.
Right.
I mean, I grew up. Now I'm gonna sound like those Gen X videos.
We're same age, Datu. I get it.
But you don't know, for those who are listening, back in the day, we didn't have the internet, and we had to have this thing called a rotary phone. And forget it if you had to dial long distance and you got the wrong number. Oh, goddamn. This is when we used to throw jarts at each other and stuff of that nature.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Yep.
But I'm trying to tell Chris, I'm like, dude, no one knew who your father was. Except for those, we knew who your father was because he was hosting Remy, because his names were in the ads. Right. Here's the funny thing here is, I have a pen name. My pen name was James Miller back then. And the funny thing about James Miller, my seminars at my school, I'd say for more information, contact James Miller. And people would call asking for James Miller. Hey, all right, or whatever the name of the school was. Thank you for calling Horizon Martial Arts. This is Tim speaking. Can I help you? Yeah, I'm looking for James. Oh, he's not in right now. Are you talking about the seminar? Yeah. Hey, I can help you with that. And so, and actually, that's what utility companies used to do for delinquent payments. The agent name you were asking for, the color of the name, talked about the delinquency rate. So if it was Mr. Black, Mr. Green, Mr. Brown, or Miss Brown, whatever, blah, blah, blah. So, yeah, can we get a chance? Call us up here. Okay, great. So that's the kind of stuff that was happening.
Right.
I'm gonna put up that. Okay, I'm gonna put it in line for a moment before I forget. So I used to get mail sent to me because they were looking for James Miller. I'm like, I got mail. Like, who that? Oh, this is for me.
Oh, it's me. It's my other me.
Funny, we had to use the neighbor's phone because she was the only one with a phone. Okay, there you go. Well, that was way. Dude, Carl, you really didn't have a phone. It was smoke signals because Carl used to party with Moses.
Oh,
he knows that, and he knows Moses had good weed. I mean, what do you think the burning bush was all about?
Oh.
So as I tried to explain, and I don't know whether if that really sunk into Chris's head because it's still all about his dad, right. and because yeah, but my dad, I'm like, I'm not trying to make fun of your dad. I mean, people didn't know who I was, except for they saw my name in the flyers, and I started traveling, and his father wasn't traveling, right. not like and a lot of people say, oh, I used to travel a lot. I used to do this. Like, how many of that? I saw Remy once a year. Okay. I saw him at 180 events.
I was going to say, you saw him at almost every event there was. And
well, not that many, but I mean, I saw him 180 times. So,
right.
That kind of tells you something. But it's all about scale. But if we had today's technology.
Oh,
the time of Remy's passing, we would have been.
Can you imagine? Oh,
we would have been so much closer. We would have lost less people. I mean, we didn't have a mailing list. Each instructor who hosted Professor had their own personal mailing list, and a lot of people didn't want to share that stuff.
right.
So a lot of people when Professor, I remember an acquaintance of mine, he saw that Professor, Professor taking a little time off. He a couple of the seminars, someone else is filling in for him because he's not feeling well. And then all of a sudden it was like, boom, his funeral is going to be at this time. Funeral? What the hell happened?
Yeah.
And it's like, that's, so it was all crazy how things happened. And it was all at the snail mail rate of things.
Right.
Yes, I had a website and I did put an email out to a whole bunch of people, but it doesn't have the impact that does. I mean, back then I make a post, maybe 500 people see it. Now I make a post. Let me see. Let's look at my post. Let's do this right here. I'm going to just do, what's today's post? Today was about, I don't know what's today about. Today's one is limb destruction for dummies. It went up earlier today. I got 6,600 views
in one day.
In a couple hours.
In a couple hours.
Can
you imagine if you had that same capability years ago?
This is Monday.
Before Professor passed away.
Friday, Thursday. So last week, Wednesday, I did a video. Talking about Bullshido strikes. I did the brachial plexus done.
I saw that one.
134,000 followers or views. Okay. 2 days before that, I got a slap in the face type video. That had 81,000 views. The one before that, Bruce Lee stealing stuff from Filipino martial arts, 185,000 views. The knife throwing one, where the guy's throwing from the handstand.
Oh, yeah.
I had 1.2 million views in 4 days. Or 1.2 million views. Looking at it right now. Within 4 days of the post, it was at 1.2 million. And we're only talking Facebook.
Yeah.
We're not talking all the other combined programs. Actually, I got to update. I haven't really looked at my stuff lately. I've been delinquent with this. But I started doing today's or June's numbers. I didn't finish May's numbers, but it's like, it's crazy, how things are going, and if we would have had, if we would have had this technology back then, Modern Arnis would be so much stronger.
Right.
Because we would be able to get in contact with each other.
Right. I agree totally. Absolutely.
And because of that, this is what we're working on. So for those who always watch your videos, sir. Take care. Good watching from New Zealand. Pinoy Pride. Yeah. Thank you, sir, RJ. Listen, here's the deal. We have time to do this. I don't think it's a realistic number to hit 70 black belts being promoted to one level or another only at my camp. But in 2027, the goal is by the end of the year that we've had 70 black belts promoted in the art. I said, I think the 70 levels, that's my first goal. I can do that at my camp. I know I can do that at my camp. I mean, you saw the numbers we had at this year's camp. And that was only the 25th anniversary of our organization. It wasn't the 70th anniversary of the art, which is going to be so much bigger.
Oh, yeah.
So, but now, as an example, we have the spring camp, which is when we're doing the anniversary, the anniversary camp. We have the instructors camp. So there's 2 camps in Buffalo specifically geared for Modern Arnis and Presas Family Systems. There's also other camps, like we're doing a Balintawak camp this year, and we had to seal out the one before. So we have multiple camps that we run, but these 2 are specifically Modern Arnis. Then I have 2 Canadian camps. The Southern Ontario camp I run, the Northern Ontario camp PG Craig runs. Then we have it's also known as the Chad camp.
The Chad camp.
The Chad camp. And then I have at least one, possibly two Florida camps every year. So that's 7 camps. All right.
Mm-hmm.
If I can get 10 black belt promotions at each of those camps, there's my 70.
There's your 70.
Now that is an attainable goal.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to get as much. So here's the thing. The sword thing, I only do that at HQ. And that's only providing that I can get those swords. I do that on my dime.
Right.
And the one year I got ripped off for over 2K. So we've done this multiple times, and one of the middle ones that it went sideways and people were upset. I'm like, dude, look at what you paid for. Did you pay for the sword? No. Okay, I'm doing this on my dime. So
right.
I had to give some people some attitude they were giving me. I go, yeah, you're disappointed. What are you gonna do about it? What can I do? I'm going to the Philippines. I'm gonna try to get it. But you didn't pay for this. What? I didn't charge you a dime for this. This is the same testing fee that we've done every year. Here's the last 5 black belt tests applications. There you go. But for those who want to be part of this, to be out there and help and become part of the legacy of the Presas family system, reach out to me, datutim@gmail.com. Go through here. Wherever you got to do it, Datutim@gmail is a good way to get me directly. But Facebook, Instagram, find my personal page. If you do it through Datu Hartman, I get so many messages there for subscribing. A lot of my messages get thrown away. Like when you write the word seminar, it blows up because messages go out and stuff like that. So we are looking for people who want to be part of this legacy. We're looking for people who've been part of the lineage and maybe have, for one reason or another, decided to get out of it. And maybe they're having a little remorse that they left. Mm-hmm. We're in a non-judgmental environment, other than judging you on the test.
Which is where it should happen.
Right. Even that, it's about improvement. It's not about, you will never be judged by the person standing next to you when it comes to the physical execution of the art, unless it's a tournament. Testing is not a competition. There's not only a certain amount of spots to get in. This is about educating as many people who are willing to be part of this and creating the next generations. Our organization is not subsidized by the government. We currently have 4 generations of black belts, or 4 generations of students training. I'm Gen 1. PG Craig and others are Gen 2. They have black belts. That's their Gen 3. And those black belts are working on their students. That's Gen 4. I'm looking forward. I'm hoping that I can see 5 generations of our art working side by side, working on the mats together while I'm still alive. I'd love to see 6 generations, but I think we can have 5 generations working. And that's what I've built with the help of my team. Mm-hmm. People have trusted me and my vision. I make sure I share our goals. I share the wealth in many different ways. I've helped people build up their own. PG Craig has his own Northern Ontario camp. Mm-hmm. I don't get a dime from that. That's all on him. I help promote it because he helps promote what I do. Same thing with the Chad camp and the other camps out there we've got going on. It's not about putting money in my pocket. It's about all of us working together. Mm-hmm. And some of the people, they don't charge to teach, and there's nothing wrong with that. Mm-hmm. If I had disposable income like there was no tomorrow, I would probably charge just a nominal fee so people had skin in the game, so they value it. Problem with free is sometimes people don't value free.
Right. Yeah, you're absolutely correct on that.
Yeah. Free martial art lessons. Oh, well, okay. Whatever. I don't pay for it, so I don't mind missing it. Yeah, that's the point.
There you go.
Start paying for it, everything changes.
Yeah.
So if you want to be part of this movement, you just reach out to me, datutim@gmail.com, or Facebook me at Tim Hartman. You'll see Datu Tim, not Datu Hartman, completely different Facebook page. Actually, I'll show it to you right now. So we're all this. Pull this up first. But the goal is to get as many people as possible. Okay, now my cover photo is going to change. But generally speaking, here's the most important part of this. You look for Tim Hartman, in parentheses, Datu Tim. Currently, this is me working at teaching at the Virginia Police Academy. This is the seminar we just taught over the weekend. I got to put the Sticks and Jits seminar up because that's what we're doing this weekend.
Next on the agenda.
Yeah, so this Saturday is Sticks and Jits. And it's to be a fusion of Filipino martial arts with Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Yep, because I have my coach, Coach Jerry, coming down. And actually, the guy I was training with this weekend had a good, or today even, earlier today. It was a good time. And we get together usually every Monday. There you go. And now it is updated because that's what I did.
Nice.
So now, hit the wrong button. All right, and there you go. This is what it looks like as of the moment. Legends Unite. So that's just
nice.
And there's a virtual element of that. So if people want to attend physically and virtually, here's what happens with our hybrid seminars. You sign up, and whether you attend physically or not, there will be a digital copy for everybody. So what happens is we have a physical class going on. We'll usually have a bunch of people virtually attend live so they can ask questions and stuff like that. Then some people, their schedules don't line up. Mm-hmm. They still they sign up for the class because they want the material and they just watch the videos at their leisure. Usually takes me about 24 hours for the Google Meet to process the videos so I can send them out.
And I'm here to tell you that Datu Tim is really good about sending out those videos. I've got the entire Modern Arnis immersion series as part of my now personal library, and it was well worth it. It really was. It's nice to be virtually in those seminars with Datu, but it's also nice to have something where you can go back over that seminar again in case there's something you might have missed the first time you were going through it. It's well worth it. Great value.
All right. So, you got anything you want to promote? Actually, give me 1 minute. I'll be right back.
Oh, okay. Well, as Datu Tim will be right back. Anybody in the Portland, Oregon, Vancouver, Washington area, and you're interested in Modern Arnis, come on down Saturdays, 9 a.m. Pacific to Southeast 8th and Southeast Main in Portland, Oregon at the Lightning Hands Academy of Wing Chun Kung Fu. But on Saturdays from 9 to 10, we teach Modern Arnis, and that's where I'll be at. So I'm hoping that you'll come join our adventure as we're waiting for Datu Tim to come back. Looking at myself at possibly trying to schedule to possibly get some folks in, do seminars at our school. We just did one in March where my Modern Arnis instructor came in and did a seminar. And I'm looking to try and host a few more seminars at our school very soon. So stay tuned. It's kind of slow in coming, but we're getting there. So anytime, and we're also open to having visitors. Somebody wants to come down on Saturday and just kind of take in a class and watch. Come on down. Doors open. hopefully you'll be able to join the adventure.
Now, I'm just going to check something. Okay. I'm checking something on a map.
Oh, gotcha.
So obviously those who are, the question isn't for those who live in the Portland area who are already training with you.
That's true.
It's for new people.
That's true. Very true. In fact, I got a new email right here. This is for the school.
Okay. So, at the risk of being controversial here.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, someone had to do that. Listen, if you happen to have been training with Dan Anderson, he shut his school down, he's retired. If he is no longer teaching in a local school, because we still don't know if that happened or not.
Right.
And you still want to be part of the art, Guru Eric can help you. If Dan is teaching elsewhere, by all means, continue with Dan. We're not trying to take you away from Dan. That's not the point.
No,
the
not
point
at all.
Because I've had this happen where a school has closed in the middle of the night, and I have been left high and dry, and I felt bad for all the students. Now, like I said, if Anderson is no longer teaching, it's only about 25 minutes away from Gresham.
Right. Very much so.
Yeah. So if that's something you're ever interested in, and like I said, you want to continue your education, but you can't because the person were in question, because Mr. Anderson closed the school, or the schedule doesn't work for you, there's other options out there. What nights a week do you teach?
I teach, actually right now, it's just every Saturday from 9 to 10 a.m.
Okay.
at the school. Hoping as soon as we get a few more students in, I'm hoping maybe we can get that schedule, get more days on the schedule where I can go in and teach. But right now it's 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. Saturday mornings.
Okay. Speaking of which, I'm seeing if there's any information. Nope. 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 I don't really see anything. Yep.
Like I said, I saw one blurb, but it didn't have a whole lot of detail on it. And so that's why I said I can't really comment on it because I didn't have all the details. So.
Oh, I can't be. Could be. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, like I said, I'm. If you're somewhere and you got training, you're all good. But if with the school closing down, if Saturdays you need a place and Saturdays work for you, then you got that opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
All right. That is about it for us. If you're interested in being part of the movement, let me know. And then keep posted for new seminar dates and locations. And yeah, we're working on Portland. Portland is in the cards. Right now, this weekend, I've got I'm hosting 28th. I'm at the MSD Kempo tournament, or Enter the Arena in Niagara Falls area. July, I'll be down in Orlando for the MayaCon and the U.S. Open. So I will be available for training and consulting, yeah, and or collaboration stuff. If you're an influencer, July we also have the Balintawak camp, 11th through 13th. I had that. That's what I had going on, and then August. Currently, I've got off. kind of enjoying that. September 19th.
Datu has a month off? What?
Well, a month off of going to seminars.
That's what I meant.
There's supposed to be a tournament in there I'm supposed to go to, but that's
okay.
So the 19th through the 21st of September is our instructor development camp. I'm hosting the World Championships on the 4th of October. Then I go the following week. I'm in Barbados for the Caribbean Martial Art Festival. And then I come home for a couple of days and I go to the Philippines again for Bobby Tabata's camp. And then I come home for a couple of days and go to Salem for the FMA Collaborative and the Massachusetts Modern Arnis camp. Then the following weekend, I'm in Germany. Then the following weekend, I've got the Canadian camp. And then it is the holiday event, the first weekend of December. And then we have Christmas and we get to relax a little and start up all over again.
Woohoo!
Yeah, so lots of stuff are going to go on. It's just we don't know when and where they're all these things will happen.
I find it somewhat funny because of the fact that you make it sound like oh, I'm going to Barbados and then I'm going to Germany, and you make it sound like you're going, like we would say, oh, I'm going over to Vancouver, Washington, which is just a few minutes away. When you say that, that's what it reminds me of. It's like, oh, I'm going to Germany. I'm just going over there.
Well, I mean, I am just going over there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. I'm just
yeah. I know. It just makes me smile.
Okay. It is what it is.
Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah. All right. Well, listen, we will wrap things up here. There are always more things going on. Please join the movement. Let's get more people in the Modern Arnis. Let's get some other people back into Modern Arnis. Let's do what we can to make this legacy move forward. It was one of the biggest starts and one of the biggest impacts for Filipino martial arts. The Presas family is to Filipino martial arts what the Gracie family was to Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. They had such a huge, huge impact. Let's do what we need to do to make sure this legacy moves forward.
Yes, please come join our adventure.
There we go. All right. Well, listen, this is always a pleasure. Once again, thank you, Eric, for joining us.
Thank you, Datu, for having me. I really appreciate it.
All right. And next week, I got to reach out to Dean Franco. I'm going to try to get him on the show. We're going to be talking about doing a show about virtual training and its proper use, whether it's a good thing, a bad thing, or whatnot thing. So I'm actually, even though I'm doing all these hybrid is the way to go. Hybrid, not virtual, physical and virtual together. But we're going to talk about it and get other people's opinions. And I'm going to give some people some suggestions, because I think the way a lot of the people out there are doing their virtual classes are not doing well. I think if I had some people that wanted me to do double-header virtual seminars, and if they weren't going to change what they were doing, I wasn't going to do it with them, because I would hate to blow them off the mats. And I'll talk about that. That sounds awful cocky, but we'll talk about it. Mm-hmm. When I say it, why I'm saying this, you'll know exactly why.
Yeah.
All right. So, as always, it's my pleasure. Everybody, stay safe and stay sane, and we'll see you soon.
Goodbye, everybody.